Welcome back to Charm and Circumstance. I'm your host, Ashley Bruggeman, and today we're talking about something we all face: stress. Whether it's work deadlines, family responsibilities, financial pressures, or even the constant buzz of notifications on your phone, stress can feel overwhelming. But here's the good news: stress is not the enemy. In fact, when managed well, it can actually push us to grow and perform better. The key is learning how to recognize it, so important, manage it, and reset before it takes over. So, in this episode, we're going to explore why stress shows up in the first place, how it impacts our mind and body, practical tools to manage it in daily life, and a quick reset exercise you can use anytime. From floor plans to 5-year plans, business to finding balance, I'm Ashley Bruggeman, an interior designer with a love for beautiful living and a belief that style and substance go hand in hand. I'm pulling back the curtain on design, resilience, and entrepreneurship. Expect real talk, refined tips, and just the right mix of polish and personality. So pour something sweet and join me for a thoughtful conversation with a generous helping of charm and circumstance. At its core, stress is your body's response to a challenge. It's a survival mechanism, the fight, flight, or freeze response. And when you feel stressed, your brain releases hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, preparing your body to respond. Now, here's the tricky part. Our bodies don't know the difference between a bear chasing us in the wild and an overflowing inbox. To our nervous system, both feel like danger, and maybe they are. Short bursts of stress, like prepping for a big presentation, can sharpen your focus, but chronic stress, when left unmanaged, can lead to burnout, sleep problems, weakened immunity, and even long-term health issues. So, step one in managing stress is awareness. Notice the signals: racing thoughts, tense shoulders, snapping at people, or feeling drained all the time. These are your body's ways of saying, hey, something here needs attention. Our worlds are so jam-packed with stimuli and distractions that, of course, we feel stressed. We have way too much on our plates, even when it's things that absolutely need to be handled or managed. And so I think the hardest part, as with anything, any emotion that is the awareness of its existence, acknowledging it. There's so much power in naming something. This is found in therapy. Naming an emotion or a problem is the first step to finding the solution. I've found this to be true over and again in my own life. When I can identify and name what I'm feeling, it's like it robs it of its power. So while we're going to get into tips for handling the stress that already exists in our life and that we maybe can't escape, I do think it's important to acknowledge the fact that there's plenty of stress that maybe is avoidable in the first place, and that we have choice over, that we can choose to eliminate, whether it's taking on more than we should be, or it's worrying about things that are actually completely out of our control. And so it's really about accepting the truth in that. I've absolutely dealt with this in my own life, acknowledging the fact that I don't have control over situations, again, is just so powerful in letting that go. And I also have to add that, if you are a person of faith, that this is a great tool to use as well in just acknowledging that these things are totally in God's hands and trusting that He's got them and they're much better in His hands than they are in ours to begin with. And so it really becomes more of a walk of faith and trust in God's sovereignty over whatever the issue is that we're dealing with. So let's get into the good stuff, the practical tools that you can start using today regarding the stress that already does exist in your life. So the first thing is breathing. I'm sure you've heard this over and over again, but of course, our breath controls our nervous system. Like it can instantly affect how the stress levels in our body are affecting us. And of course, this tool is used in the most stressful types of situations by the military and in combat situations. Hopefully all situations we will never find ourselves in. The quickest way to calm your body down is actually through your breath. So one of these ways to actually do it is to inhale deeply for 4 counts. You hold it for 4, and then you exhale for 6. And you repeat it 3 times. So you inhale deeply for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 6, and repeat it 3 times. You will notice how your heart rate slows down, which then will lower your body's reaction to the stress. The second tool for reducing stress is to move your body. Exercise doesn't mean that you have to get out there and run a marathon by any means. Just a 10-minute walk, stretching, or even dancing in your kitchen helps release endorphins and reduce stress hormones. It's really incredible how just a short walk outside makes the biggest difference. So if you work from home, and this means just taking the dog for a walk, or I literally just got side-eye from my dog because she just heard me say that. Or this could mean just wandering out in the middle of the day and getting away from your desk for 10 minutes. Or if you actually work in an office building, taking a walk around the block at lunch. Something to get you outside and moving is absolutely going to help every aspect of your stress relief. Another tool to reduce the stress is to reframe the stressor. This is so powerful. So instead of saying, I have to finish this project, shift it to, I get to work on something important. It's a small change, but it alters how your brain perceives the task. It's really all about resetting your perspective, isn't it? And I think that can apply to so many different things in our lives. I've used this I use this tool often, and it does really help because I think half the time the problem really is just my own narrow perspective, right? I allow the stress to build. Therefore, I begin making the problem more and more powerful, feeding it more and more energy, which only makes it larger in my own mind. And it just creates this endless cycle that I can't get out of. So when we can reframe it and change our perspective and look at it, try to find the silver lining or the positive in the situation, but also if there's not a positive in it, that's fine too. Then we can focus on the fact that it's not going to last forever. Nothing ever does. And so there is a gift in that as adults, especially, we know we will get past it, we will survive, and it will come to an end. Okay, so another tool for managing stress is boundaries and breaks. Give yourself permission to say no, to pause, and to unplug. Set work hours if you're remote. Take short breaks to reset your focus. This is so valuable. It's so easy to work like all day, especially when you're home and you're alone and don't have other distractions coming at you. I have definitely been in this place. And you get to like mid afternoon and you haven't eaten anything all day because you've just been working nonstop and it didn't even occur to you. You look up and it's already, 3 o'clock. Or you stay at your desk until the late evening hours and it's already 9 o'clock and you haven't unplugged whatsoever. Or your phone keeps going off and it's just constant text messages or the dreadful group text that goes on and on and on with constant notifications. I have muted every single group text I'm a part of because I just can't stand that. Constant notifications. In fact, I actually have all notifications turned off on my phone, minus text messages, but I don't let any apps send notifications to me. I don't need to know anything that's happening until I open up that app and see it for myself, because that's when I allow myself to be an audience to it. So setting boundaries around working hours, around other people's access to you, which again, so important, whether you have a team that reports to you and they're texting you or sending you information at all hours, or if you run your own business. And so you have customers and other, people are constantly coming at you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with setting boundaries on your own time and deciding for yourself when you're going to be available to people and when you're not available. Establishing breaks inside those work periods is also so valuable because you can use that to either do some yoga or call a friend or take that walk, like I mentioned in the last tool. Connecting with people is another fabulous tool for managing stress. In this world where we have to schedule out time with our friends a month or so out, which is absolutely my life, we really have to prioritize planning that so that it happens, because doesn't it stink to be that friend where, you run into your friends and it's like, yeah, we should get together. We should go to lunch soon or grab that drink. Those conversations are just constantly happening. But let's be the ones who we don't say it if we don't actually mean it. And we're really going to reach out and get that on the schedule. It's important to maintain these friendships. Time flies so fast and we need to laugh. We need to be social. We need to love on each other. We need to share our lives with each other. Sleep and nutrition is another important aspect to managing stress. I think I've said on here before that I absolutely have to have good sleep. I am not the person who can function on anything less than probably 9 hours of solid sleep. It's just like not an option. My brain just, I think, stops working completely. I am incapable. I will sit down, try to work, and I'm like a zombie and cannot accomplish a thing. If this is you, I get you. Do not ever let anyone shame you for your need for sleep, because after all, we are human. So if you're not getting enough sleep, you've got to start doing things to help yourself. And I've mentioned this before, but my goodness, has been probably the best thing that I have done for myself lately is sleeping with my phone in a different room, because it is a temptation like no other to get on that stupid phone at night. And one thing leads to another, and all of a sudden you're hours in and haven't fallen asleep at a decent hour, and now your whole next day is screwed. So I plug my phone in inside the bathroom next to my room, and that's where it stays. And I use a real alarm clock, and I will pull out a book and actually get my reading done at night because my phone isn't there to distract me. This also takes willpower to even plug the phone in inside the bathroom as opposed to on my nightstand. Nutrition, of course, obviously so important. I'm maybe one of the worst people to talk about this, but I do try, as I'm sure you do as well. And then I also have moments of, let's say, not trying, and I can feel the difference. And maybe that's, just the age thing, because when, I was younger, I could get away with it and it wouldn't even show on my body. You couldn't physically see that I ate nothing but crap. But nowadays, that is absolutely not the case. Not only can you see it, but you can feel it. So maybe you're just like me, and we really need to do better regarding the nutrition. I do see a difference when I am better at planning out in advance what I'm going to eat for the week and get that grocery shopping done all in advance. So everything is there. I already know as I'm going into the day what I'm going to fix for dinner. I'm going to deliberately make the choice when I go out to get something that has some real nutrition to it, which all goes together. The good sleep, the good nutrition, the boundaries on putting the phone away at night. These go hand in hand. And when you fall off the wagon with one, the others suffer tremendously. So another great tool that I use to manage stress is journaling. And I know a lot of people do this in different ways. I do it typically in prayer journal format every morning. And so some people do this at night as well, and it helps to clear their brains before they go to bed. So obviously, you do you, whatever works best for you. But I do think that the act of physically writing things down, whether it is worries or fears, or even things that you're grateful for to help you refocus on all the blessings that you have. I feel like this is really powerful tool to, again, change that perspective and refocus our brains so that we're not carrying the negative things with us through the day. So again, we're going to go back to that exercise, the breathing exercise that I mentioned earlier. If you're in a situation where you can close your eyes, it's probably best to do that. And then you're going to take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, hold it for a count of 3, and exhale through your mouth. You picture your stress as a tight knot in your body, which it very well may already be. With every exhale, imagine that it's loosening, it's releasing, and it's getting lighter. And repeat this for 3 breaths. Once you follow that exercise through, doing that breath exercise 3 times, you're going to bring to mind one thing that you're grateful for, big or small. It could be a simple warm cup of coffee or a text from a friend. That's it. A 2-minute reset you can use anytime, anywhere. I typically have to do these while I'm driving because that is where I do get the most stressed. So as we discussed, managing stress isn't about eliminating it completely. That is just impossible. It's about learning to dance with it instead of letting it control you. So here's your challenge this week. The next time you feel stress creeping in, pause, breathe, and choose one small action, whether it's moving your body, writing down your thoughts, or calling a friend. Over time, these small habits will build resilience. And resilience is what helps us not just survive stress, but grow stronger because of it. Thank you for joining me for episode 14 of Charm and Circumstance. If today's episode helped you, share it with someone who might need a reminder to take a breath. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, take care of yourself. And remember, you have the tools to manage stress and reclaim your peace. See you next time, friend. Thanks for joining me on Charm and Circumstance. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and follow along on Instagram, because charm is personal and circumstance is what you make of it.